Blake Lively was once Hollywood's golden girl, a radiant talent with an enviable social circle. She had red carpet dominance, friendships with industry titans, and a glamorous marriage that seemed untouchable. But sometimes, when you shine too brightly, it's only a matter of time before the spotlight starts to burn. Hollywood has a habit of turning on its own, and for Blake Lively, that moment arrived in the most jaw-dropping way possible: the golden image. If you rewind a few short years, Blake Lively's reputation was practically bulletproof. She could do no wrong. Everything from her fashion choices to her social media posts was met with admiration. Fans praised her sunny disposition, reporters loved her quick wit, and directors lined up to cast her as the lead. Even her friendships read like a who's who of Hollywood. Most people assumed that life couldn't get any better for the actress. But there's a risky side to flying so high. When you stumble, the fall is that much harder. And stumble she did. The narrative has flipped faster than anyone could have imagined. The same press that once showcased Blake's every move in a flattering light suddenly began questioning her motives, her integrity, and even her relationships. It was like the snap of a finger. One moment she was the darling of Hollywood. The next she found herself walking on thin ice, waiting to see if it would crack under her feet. The Critics' Choice shock. People always expect the Critics' Choice Awards to be glitzy but safe. Polite acceptance speeches, carefully curated outfits, and zero real drama. Not this time. Chelsea Handler took the stage and launched into a monologue that made jaws drop. In seconds. She didn't just gently poke fun, she torched Blake's entire situation. Handler slammed everything, from Blake's ongoing legal drama to her attempts at damage control. But the biggest surprise was how the audience reacted. Instead of gasping in horror or rallying behind Blake, they erupted in laughter. No one seemed to rush to Blake's defense or feel pity for her. It was as if Handler had voiced what everyone in Hollywood was already thinking, but had been too scared to say out loud. It was a bold move that signaled a massive shift in how the industry viewed Blake Lively. And here's the kicker. With one short roast, Handler sent a message that the gloves were off. Blake's carefully managed public image had taken its first decisive hit in front of the cameras, and there was no going back to the way things were. Accusations surfaced. That shocking moment was only the tip of a much larger iceberg. Behind the scenes, Blake was neck-deep in a lawsuit that threatened to drag major players down with her. Word leaked that Blake had accused director-producer Justin Baldoni of misconduct, though misconduct was just the tip of a very messy iceberg. The rumor mill churned out endless tales, from sabotage on set to personal vendettas. But then the story flipped. Baldoni fired back with a countersuit worth hundreds of millions, pointing fingers right back at Blake and even calling out Ryan Reynolds. He claimed the accusations were orchestrated to smear his name and hype up Blake's own narrative. Phrases like "accusations surfaced" started filling the tabloids. Nobody knew which side to believe. Was Blake a genuine victim, or was she weaving a tale for the cameras? And with the entire industry watching, it soon became clear that if any proof existed to back Baldoni's version, Blake's empire would be in serious danger. Receipts and revelations. It turns out Baldoni didn't come empty-handed. Texts, emails, and behind-the-scenes tidbits slowly found their way to the public. These receipts weren't just minor details, they were bombshells that exposed contradictions in Blake's claims. Conversations that painted Blake as a friendly coworker now clashed with her portrayal of a hostile environment. Emails suggesting she had orchestrated certain press leaks emerged at the worst possible time. The resulting fallout made everyone question her motives. If even half these receipts held water, Blake's credibility was in tatters. It's one thing to make an accusation. It's another to face undeniable evidence that cracks your entire story. Every new revelation felt like a fresh blow to the glamorous image she'd spent years cultivating. The uproar only grew louder, especially when fans realized that if she'd spun this narrative against Baldoni, who's to say she wouldn't try it again with someone else? Each day brought a new detail, a new snippet of conversation, another piece of the puzzle. And with each new puzzle piece, the portrait of Blake Lively began to look less like a wronged star, and more like someone who might have set the stage for her own downfall. The Swift fallout. In Hollywood, alliances can make or break you, and few alliances shined brighter than Blake Lively and Taylor Swift. They were besties, traveling together, sharing inside jokes, and lighting up social media with their strong bond. But you'll notice a telling silence whenever a scandal surfaces: the absence of your closest friend. That silence says more than any Instagram statement could. Once Baldoni unveiled his side of the story, Taylor Swift vanished from Blake's corner. No supportive tweets, no subtle shoutouts. Nothing. Rumors went wild about how Swift felt blindsided by Blake's lawsuit, especially if it dragged in big names or forced Swift to testify. Then leaked messages suggested Blake had referred to Taylor and Ryan as her loyal dragons, implying she viewed them more as pawns in her fight than genuine allies. Swift's PR team wasted no time distancing her from Blake, making it crystal clear she was not about to let her golden career get tainted by a scandal she had nothing to do with. For fans, it felt like the ultimate betrayal. Two once inseparable friends, now pretending they were never all that close in the first place. If losing public favor was a blow to Blake's ego, losing a friend like Taylor Swift was the heartbreak that truly signaled how deep this cut could go. Ryan Reynolds under fire. Ryan Reynolds usually seems untouchable. Everybody loves the witty social media posts, the comedic one-liners, and that friendly charm. Yet even he couldn't dodge the fallout. According to the countersuit, Ryan wasn't just on the sidelines defending his wife. Some claim he actively tried to meddle with Baldoni's project, rewriting scenes and pushing changes that benefited him and Blake. When Baldoni resisted, the harassment accusations surfaced shortly after. Whether Ryan played the villain or a protective husband depends on who you ask. But it's undeniable that his spotless record in Hollywood took a major dent. Fans found themselves asking if the beloved jokester they saw online might have a darker side. As more evidence piled up, it looked less like a misunderstanding and more like a strategic takedown that misfired. Even in the audience at the Critics' Choice Awards, you could see the unease on Ryan's face. It's one thing to crack jokes in a tight spot. It's another to face an entire industry ready to turn on you. Between him and Blake, it started looking less like they were fighting for justice and more like they were fighting to save face, in a drama that had spiraled out of control. Hollywood turns its back. Hollywood loves a comeback story, but it also delights in knocking people off pedestals. Studio execs who once chased Blake for roles were now suspiciously quiet. Reporters who had once praised her style and grace now highlighted every hole in her story. And the tabloids, initially chomping at the bit for more drama, suddenly acted weary, like the story had become too toxic, even for them. Comparisons. To the Johnny Depp-Amber Heard fiasco started cropping up left and right. Blake's situation had all the makings of a meltdown. A high-profile actress leveling allegations that might not hold up, an exasperated defendant presenting enough receipts to fill a filing cabinet, and an industry that thrives on public takedowns. The moment someone started whispering the next Amber Heard, the tide truly turned. When entire networks and top-tier magazines begin to distance themselves, it's a sign the damage might be irreversible. Managers, PR teams, and brand sponsors typically rush to do damage control. But for Blake, it seemed like they were retreating faster than she could ask for backup. The laughter at the Critics' Choice Awards was just a public glimpse into what insiders had been feeling for a while. Hollywood was over the Blake Lively saga and it wanted out. The future of Blake's legacy. So where does all of this leave Blake Lively? In just a few short months, she went from a beloved A-lister to a potential Hollywood pariah. The March 2026 trial looms large like a final judgment day. If the court sides with Baldoni, Blake might be looking at an enormous financial blow, on top of the near-total collapse of her reputation. Some insiders claim she's already had multiple deals fall through. Directors don't want a scandal overshadowing their projects, and sponsors hate bad press. The question isn't just whether Blake can win or lose in court, it's whether she can ever recover from this level of public humiliation. Even if some fans remain loyal, mainstream Hollywood tends to have a long memory when it comes to personal controversies. The moment you're labeled toxic, it's an uphill climb to get back into anyone's good graces. What about Ryan? If his involvement proves more extensive than fans realized, he might take a hit as well. Some are predicting he'll cut ties to save his own career, leaving Blake isolated in the fallout. There's a reason people say Hollywood's loyalty only goes as far as your next box office hit. Once the industry has decided it's done with you, doors start slamming shut one by one. In the end, it's almost poetic how quickly fortune can reverse in Tinseltown. Blake Lively's misstep became a waterfall of exposed messages, shocking accusations, shifting friendships, and a trial date everyone's waiting to see. Chelsea Handler's roast was just the spark that lit the fuse, revealing an industry more than ready to laugh off Blake's victim narrative. Now the final question hangs in the air. Can Blake salvage her career, or is this fiasco her closing act? The folks in Hollywood seem convinced that her meltdown has sealed her fate. But in a world where image is everything, nothing is truly final until the credits roll. Maybe she'll regroup, rebrand, and attempt a Hollywood comeback. Or maybe this is where the curtain falls for good. Whatever happens, one thing's for sure. The Blake Lively drama has become the talk of Hollywood. And it's a cautionary tale about just how quickly public favor can vanish. As viewers on the outside, all we can do is watch and wonder. Will she rise from the ashes or remain a permanent fixture in Hollywood's Hall of Scandal? Only time and the outcome of that impending courtroom battle will tell.